you have decided to defer your admit to spring semester because there's a lot of craziness going on right now. For example, F1 visa is on pause. You don't even know if you'll get you'll get the appointment for fall semester. So you're like, okay, maybe I'll just push it to spring semester. You are thinking job market is brutal. Maybe you'll have another 6 months to figure out like whether the job market improves or not. Service revocation, immigration is crazy. Harvard thing is going on with Trump and Harvard, and there's so much more going on. So you're like, okay, I'm just gonna push my admit to spring semester, and maybe you think that is the best plan. But let me ask you, is it really the best plan? Or is it the wisest decision? Because I see some problem with spring semester, and at least starting in the spring semester. And this video is about why spring semester might not be the wisest idea. And I'm gonna tell you pros and cons, both. You make the decision based on that information and based on awareness, not just because craziness is going on. Let's get started. If you're new to this channel, my name is Yudi. On this channel, we talk about everything related to studying in United States, whether it is fall semester, spring semester, building a successful career in United States, and immigration. So today I want to talk about spring semester because I have a job hunting accelerator program. We also have a study in US accelerator program. A lot of students are asking me, hey, we are not getting visa appointment and we are thinking to push this to spring semester. Is this really a good idea? Now here's my problem with spring semester. There are three main reasons why I don't like the idea of starting in spring semester. Let's start with number one. And hopefully through the editing magic, you will see the timeline explanation. But here we go. So let's assume you start your master's in United States in spring 2026 because that's when you are deferring it, right? Assuming most masters are 2 years program. So assuming your master is also 2-year program, if it is a 1-year program or a 2-year program, the problem exists. Here's why. You will graduate in December 2028 from the 2 years program timeline, right? Now, because you graduate in December 2028, you might get less H-1B attempt. Let me explain. So because you graduated in December 2028, the next H-1B season is going to be March of 2029. You have roughly 3 months, In that 3 months, assuming, I'm making an assumption that you don't have a job lined up. With this crazy market, who knows? And again, who knows what will happen in 2029. But let's assume you don't have a job lined up. So now you will most likely start your OPT in January or February, and that is very less time to convince any company to sponsor H-1B because they haven't even seen you, unless it's a big tech company. So there are caveats in this point. When I say this as a disadvantage, there's some caveats. Okay, if you graduate with a full-time job offer, which means you are already aware that they are sponsoring and they will sponsor as soon as you start the next year. So now you won't lose an H-1B attempt. But if you don't graduate with a full-time offer and if you don't get a big tech company who have no idea how the immigration works or they're skeptical about immigration and H-1B, they will not sponsor your H-1B in the first attempt. So you will lose your first attempt. Now, if you are from non-STEM major, that means that was your only attempt and you lost it. You don't have any more options. After your first year of OPT, you may have to either enroll in another master's PhD program if you want to still stay in United States or go back. But let's say you are from STEM major. Now you do have another 2 years of an extension and hopefully you get H-1B attempts. So in general, your probability of H-1B and attempts gets lesser because you have low attempts. 2 attempts only, right? There's another H-1B attempt which definitely you will not be eligible. Here's why. It's called 0th attempt. Now, for those of you who don't know what is 0th attempt, so let's take an example of fall 2026. Instead of you deferring your admit to spring 2026, let's say you defer your admits to fall 2026. Okay. If you deferred it to fall 2026, which means you will graduate in May 2028, right? That is the timeline that we're going to follow. Now, because you're graduating May 2028, your last semester will be your spring semester, which will be from January to April. Now, let's say you are lucky and you end up getting a job offer in the 3rd semester, which is when the peak hiring season will be. Your third semester is when you need to knock a job offer so that you are eligible for the 0th attempt. Now this has happened with multiple students, my job hunting students as well. So what they have done is they've gotten a job offer in August, September, October of 2027, and they know, the big tech company knows that they have to file an H-1B after you graduate, but they don't want to wait. The requirement of H-1B is that you have to have a job offer and you have to have a bachelor's degree. In this case, you will have both. You will have a bachelor's degree because you are doing masters, and you will have a job offer. So they'll file an attempt while you are in your last semester. I mean, you might be lucky and you might end up getting an H-1B picked up, a job offer, and you graduate. That is an amazing feeling. But because you are a spring student, and if you end up graduating in December, you'll not even be qualified for that benefit because, again, you graduate in December. So they don't have an opportunity for you to file an H-1B because the H-1B filing happens in March. So you will be graduated by then. You will be on OPT period. Does that make sense? Now let me tell you that I've also seen students who prepone their education. Instead of 2 years, they will finish their masters in 1.5 years, or your program itself is 1.5 years. That is the same case that could happen if you extend your masters, which also is what I've seen because of the current job market. Many people are taking extra courses and extending the master's program so that they have enough time to find a job. I've seen that as well. So either cases, either you prepone it or postpone it, the same benefits that I said are available for fall, and the disadvantage will not be any more disadvantage for you. You will be in the same boat as a fall student. So again, this really depends on your master's program. So choose wisely when you are deferring that decision. Another disadvantage that because you start in spring semester, there are not a lot of classes that are available. Like some universities have limited classes in the spring semester. So you start with a disadvantage of not a lot of classes being available to you to enroll into. So you may end up like compromising and take some random classes which you may not even want it. I've seen that happen multiple times. But again, this might not be as big of a disadvantage as you think, because you're like, okay, I'm okay with the classes that are available in the spring semester and I'll just take that because I anyway have to take it. That's totally fine. But I've seen that as a disadvantage as well. Now, it's not all bad for spring semester. In fact, I feel like spring semester actually even have a bigger advantage, which is job market advantage, job hunting advantage, not market. What I mean by job hunting. Now, let's say you come in January 2026, because that's when you will be deferring it, right? You'll have 2 summers. You'll obviously not be doing your first internship in the first summer, but you have so much of time for the next summer internship. So you have 3 semesters before you plan for your summer internship. So you have a lot of time in your hand to find that summer internship. And that is the biggest advantage for spring students, because they have spring semester, fall semester, another spring semester, and then the summer. That is when they can officially do a summer internship. Well, they could also do winter internship if that is available, but technically that will be your first summer internship that is available to you. You could convert that into a co-op. Final semester could be co-op that converts into a full-time. It's totally possible. I've seen that happen multiple times. And so big advantage you have is you have a lot of time in United States. So you'll have a lot of access. You'll take a lot of classes. You'll understand how the job market works. You'll probably have gone through multiple career fairs. You'll have a chance to attend conferences. You'll have chance to build your network and relationship. You will also have a summer. Hopefully you don't go to India, and use that summer to volunteer, do an unpaid internship, do something that is meaningful, create projects if you don't have work experience. This is best time because you have a lot of time in your hand before the actual hiring season. The hiring season will start in your fall semester of like August, September, October. That will be the peak hiring season. So before that, you'll have like 8 months. And if you're watching this now and you're planning to defer it, that means you also have another 6 months. So you have total of 14 months before your actual hiring season for your actual summer internship. So technically, you have a lot of time, and maybe all the disadvantage I said, you can convert this into an advantage. So it really depends on how you strategize your journey. That is why I would love to invite you for my job hunting accelerator program, so that things like this happens. These are like minute details. You have to talk to seniors. We have amazing WhatsApp community, so come and join if you can. If not, totally fine. And I know this question was asked to me like, hey, I'm deferring to next year or in spring semester, should I still join the program? Yes, because the earlier you start, the earlier you are in the game. If you are thinking ahead, if you are planning to be successful in the United States, then start now. Don't start after you land in the United States. Start now. Here's another advantage that I think it's a very underrated, because you graduate in December and January is again when going to be the hiring season will start to pick up, right? So what happens is people who are in fall semester, they cannot start working full time until they graduate in May. But you, on the other hand, can start working. So the smaller companies want immediate hiring. They don't want to wait for you to graduate in May. They want someone to start now because they have a lot of projects lined up. They have things to get done. Not like Facebook and Google and Meta and Google and TikTok and all these. They hire in bulk because they are preparing for ahead of time. But smaller size and mid-size and startups, they want someone now. So you do have that other advantage when the companies are hiring in October and November and potentially starting of January. You will be able to crack those companies because your start date is going to be immediately available versus fall students. And now you're probably like, Yudi, I'm so confused. You've talked about advantage and disadvantage. Here's my final words of wisdom. Hopefully it helps you. If this is not from your consultant, if your consultant is forcing you to not defer it to fall semester, most likely the intention of them is because their money is stuck. They can't make money until you go to United States. So that's why they are forcing you to go in spring instead of fall. So that's number one. Number two, if you don't have any emergencies or rush, for example, a lot of girls, if your parents are not forcing you to get married, or if you don't have a boyfriend situation, you know what I'm talking about. So if you're not in one of those situations, I recommend coming in fall semester, which means you will have to defer it to fall 2026. If you are deferring to fall 2026, which means you have almost a year, more than a year, like right, a year plus 2 months. That's a plenty of time to get ready for actual job market. So when you land, you're ready for your summer internship, and when you get summer internship, convert that into full time. There's a lot of opportunities in this 1.2 years, especially students who don't have work experience. This is what I would 100% recommend. Get some work experience, build your profile before you come. If you're someone who doesn't have work experience and you're planning to like postpone your plan to spring, instead of spring, just postpone it to like fall. It's a matter of 6 months. Like it's not gonna hurt you as much. So like I said, unless you have an emergency or a boyfriend girlfriend situation, family situation, I would just push it to fall semester, fall 2026, and plan during that time. If you have any further question on this topic, please let me know in the comment section. Also, if you have any further topics that you would like me to explore, please let me know in the comment section. And I have an amazing newsletter which people have been loving it lately because I've been reflecting on my thoughts and journey and experiences and insights and conversation. Subscribe to that as well. I'll put all the link in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep smiling and keep hustling. You gotta hustle every single day.